I'm reading the headline off of the African Press International dated October 15th, 2008. Shocking development. Mrs. Obama decides enough is enough. My husband was born in Hawaii and adopted by his stepfather. Does that make him unpatriotic, she asks, on a direct telephone to API. The story continues, accusing API of colluding with American internet bloggers in an effort to bring down her husband. Mrs. Obama said she decided to call API because of what she termed API's help to spread rumors created by American bloggers and other racist media outlets in their efforts to damage a black man's name, saying she hopes African media was mature enough to be in the front to give unwavering support to her husband, a man Africans should identify themselves with. When the African Press International told her that their online news media was only relaying what the American bloggers and other media outlets had discovered through their own investigations, Mrs. Obama was angered, and she came out loud with the following line. African Press International is supposed to support Africans and African American view. And she went on to state it is strange that the API has chosen to support the racists against my husband. There is no shame in being adopted by a stepfather. All dirt has been thrown into my husband's face, and yet he loves this country. My husband and I know that there is no law that will stop him from becoming president. Just because some American white racists are bringing up the issue of my husband's adoption by his stepfather, the important thing here is where my husband's heart is at the moment. I can tell the American people that my husband loves this country, and his adoption never changed his love for this country. He was born in Hawaii, yes, and that gives him all the right to be an American citizen, even though he was adopted by a foreigner. So Michelle Obama said on the telephone to the African Press International. Many people have been waiting for that Whitey tape, and it appears that Mrs. Obama just provided us one. The article goes on to say this is a very interesting turn of events. The American man, Dr. Corsi, was recently reported to have been arrested in Kenya because there was fear that he might reveal information on Obama when he wanted to hold a press conference in Nairobi. The question is why he was arrested and who ordered his arrest. Was Obama's hand in this? We will never know the truth, but it is clear that Dr. Corsi was seen as a threat while he was in Kenya. The article continues. While API asked Mrs. Obama to comment on why Dr. Corsi was arrested and whether she thought that the Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga was involved in Dr. Corsi's arrest, she got irritated and simply told API not to dig that which will support evil people who are out to stop her husband from getting the presidency. When asked who she was referring to as the evil people, she stated that she was not going to elaborate much on that, but that there were many conservative white people and even some African Americans who were against her husband, and that this group were simply doing so out of envy. On Farrakhan and his ministry, Mrs. Obama told the API that it was unfortunate that Mr. Farrakhan came out the way he did, supporting her husband openly before the election was over. That was not wholehearted support, but one that was calculated to convince the American people that her husband would support the growth of Muslim faith if he became president. She also added, even if my husband was able to prove that he was not a Muslim, he will not be believed by those who have come out strongly to destroy his chances of becoming the next president. Do real people expect someone to deny a religion when 80% of his relatives are Muslims? Obama then hung a carrot in front of them. Mrs. Obama asked the African Press International to write a good story about her husband, and that would earn them an invitation to the inauguration ceremony when, as she put it, her husband will be installed as the next president of the United States. Why was Michelle Obama so upset with the African Press International? Because they ran a story off of the Texas Darlin blog that spoke about Berg versus Obama lawsuit. It appears now by Michelle Obama's own testimony that Barack Obama was in fact adopted by Lolo Soetoro, and he became a citizen of Indonesia, at which time he would have lost his U.S. citizenship if he ever had it to begin with. And it appears Michelle's own admission that that is the case. And so who did Michelle blame all of these facts on but upon white conservatives and racists that were bringing up the issue of her husband's adoption, brought about by white racists. So in other words, according to Michelle Obama, whether you are a white conservative or you are an African American, if you are not supporting the presidency of Barack Obama, you are a racist. Well, many have been waiting for the Whitey tape to come out, but I guess we'll have to settle for second best. We'll have to settle for this honest and true report by the African Press International, in which Michelle Obama claims that all the white conservatives and even the African Americans who are not supporting Barack Obama for president are racists. Thanks for listening.